Okay, so let's start. This is an empty card. Uh, Piprintan natin siya ng name, LRN, age, sex, grade, section, and year level. So, after niya na magawa, magkakaroon tayo ng finished product na parang ganito. Okay? So, andun na yung name, LRN. So, ano ang kailangan nating gamitin? First, kailangan natin ng isang Epson L220. Okay? So, usual naman na meron ng isang school ng Epson L220. So, hindi pwede yung L120 dahil maaaring ito ay mag-paper jam pag makapal ang papel tulad ng ginagamit dito. Makapal yung kanyang papel, 200 GSM siya. Ang pwede lang sa L120 ay 90 GSM. So now, ang ating gagawin ay magse-set up tayo doon sa computer. Okay, so we will first set up what we call the database. To set up the database, you will need to open an Excel file. So let's open an Excel file. So if you remember, the information that we want is or are name, LRN, age, the sex, grade level, the section, the school year, and the advisor. So, when you are trying to do this, you have to first make the first row your header. So, for example, here you have advisor. So, and here is your name, your LRN. Okay. So, let's try to have an entry. Juan de la Cruz. LRN is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The age is 13. Sex is male. Grade is 8. The section is Gumamela. The year level is school year is 2017 to 2018. And now, the advisor would be, for example, now, we can continue doing this. So, for example, I have names here already. So, let's try to use them. So, I have folder here. And I have an Excel file that contained all the names of those that I printed on. So let's use this data. For example, so let's have it at 200 students. Let's first have it at 200 students. So let's overwrite the, now we have here the LRN, the age, the sex, the grade level, the section, the school year, and the advisor. So, for example, you don't have, for example, we delete this all. And we know that these are all grade 7. So, type in 7, then put your cursor on the fill handle and double click. So, it will now fill that to 7. For example, all of this, you know, are El Nido. So, you just type in El Nido. So, you double click and all of them are now the same. So, in the school year, it's a bit trickier. So, if you're going to do that, so 2017 to 2018, if you copy that down, that would be 2017 to 2019. So, it counted. So, to remedy that, you have to edit at least two. When you have two correct, 2017 to 2018, you double click on the fill handle again, and everything or every entry will now have 2017 to 2018. So it's just the same here with the advisor. Now, if we have the advisor, uh, be careful of how you spell, because how you spell here would be the way it would be spelled on the publisher. And for example, I used all caps here, then on the publisher file it would all be caps. So if I want it to be proper, uh, caps for first letter, then I should type it, or I should copy it in that way. So now let's move on to our publisher file. Okay, so now we have the second part. Once you've saved your Excel file, let's open it first so that we could see what we've done. Okay, so we only have one. So always remember that you are on sheet 1. All of your data would be on sheet 1. All of those who you will print will be on sheet 1. So you could use sheet 2 as your repository of those you've already finished. So I have here about 900 students. So for this example, let's have, for example, just okay, let's have all of those 972 students. Okay, just to let you see how powerful uh, the link is. So now this is already typewritten. It was copy paste from the SF1, and as you can see, okay, it doesn't matter what font style or font size you're gonna use. You just need to be careful about the number, whether you're going to use caps lock or proper. So now we have the Excel file ready. So remember where you put it. So it's in the Google Drive, pang card, and it's a sample. Now, we will create a publisher file. So let's create a new publisher file. So let's name this for card printing. Now, uh, the publisher file the will be the program that will contain all of your formatting. So how it will be arranged. So if you would know, there are different types of page size. So the usual size is letter. So for this project, we will use letter. There would be some instances that you will use folio or the 8.5 by 13. But in this demonstration, we will use letter. So I've selected letter. Then our orientation, if you remember a while ago, is landscape. So your uh, if this is your canvas, you will now go into mailings. So this is a very important step. So be careful. So mailings, in the mailing tab, you will select step by step mail merge. So a window or a section will open here, and in this section you will have step 1 of 3. So you click on use an existing list. So this is the default, so uh, so you don't have to change this. But if it's clicked on either of this, you need to click use an existing list. Then click next, create or connect a recipient list. So now we will find the data that we prepared. So it was in the Google Drive, remember, and it was on the card, then sample, then here is our file. So if you open it, you will choose sheet 1, sheet 2, or sheet 3. So remember, I used sheet 1 for those who I am still working on. So sheet 2 is the repository for those that I've finished. Now sheet 1 would be the one we will need. So okay. So it populated the list. So no need to edit any of that. We will now click OK. So now, if you would see here, you will now have in option, okay, name, for example, it would now be a text box, and that text box could be moved from place to place. So you could now change this into a bigger font size, font style. Okay, maybe your name will have a complete middle name, so you need longer space. Now, for example, we have the section. So let's delete that. So be careful, you exit the text box of name before you click on the section. So the section is now, let's have that at 12. So you want it as near with your now. So section is just simple. Okay, next is our school year. So our school year. For example, it's here. So we must always remember where our, so we will do some measuring here or calibration every time that we will print on a new form. So once we done with the calibration, okay, so if you're having trouble, you could scan the empty you could scan the empty card, just like what I did here. So let's have that. Scanned it. Here in my picture. Okay, access denied. Picture. Oh my, where is it? Picture. Okay, where's that? Okay. So let's search here. Here's my picture. Picture. Okay. Let's here. Let's search for the scanned file. Picture. Okay, so we have our picture. This is an empty uh, what we call this, an empty scan of the card. So let's have this, that, and let's position it so that it would be ready. Next. So it now occupies the full size. For example, just ignore the name. We'll bring it backward. So for example, so we could use a white fill so that so name, you will now center that on the name. And next would be the LRN. So where's our LRN? So LRN, so we can now use that here. Okay, so let's change the font size to 12. Okay, resize the whole thing. Then, so that you would not be, let's have it at shape fill white. So the age, for example, so we'll have the age here. So after you're done putting all of your stuff, you can now delete the picture. So you will be left with an empty sheet. So I'll finish with all of this, and so I'll just show you how it is correct. So let's try to look at, so let's control P, look at what the program has done. So let's have this as 1 page per sheet, and then so if you look, all of the, it will change as you scroll along. So this is up to 972 students. So all of that will change as you move along. So that is how we use mail merge. So, okay, so we'll now move on to the printing part of our project. So as you can see, if we zoom in, you can see that we already have the name, okay, formatted, the LRN, the sex. So all of these are relatively aligned to each other. So when I move something up or down, I just need to move arrow down, arrow down, arrow down, or arrow up, arrow up. So all of these are relatively aligned, especially if you click the grouped. Now we have 972 students in our list. So if we look at each, let's try to look at it on our mailings tab. You will see that every time I click, so it changes, and the change is linked to the database or the Excel file that we had a while ago. So if you fast forward to the last entry, 972, so uh, so there are instances where you need to check with your file because look here, you have a 0, so that means there's no number, or maybe the number is not safe, are not saved, so there's 0. But it's for this instance only, for this section only. So now we will go on with our printing. After we've figured out what's wrong with this number, we'll just close this down, open the Excel file and change it, and open this, close the Excel file, open this again, and see if it works. So there's no age that is 0. So now let's try to have a printing, how to print. So it's taking a while. Why? So if we are going to the print, so we could go directly to the control P, which will open our control for printing, or we could just go to the file tab and go to the print options. So in our print options, we have here an Epson L220. It's connected, and as you can see, there are 972 entries, 972 pages. So if you go to 100, so that would be a different section altogether. So there's something wrong with our age. All of them appears to be 0. So let's see. So maybe there's no number that's typewritten. Next, uh, we could custom print. For example, we just, our printer can only hold up to 15 pages. So we can print actually custom range. So let's print 1 to 15. So if you go to 1 to 15, so the first 15 section, the first 15 students will be the one to be printed. So if you have your Epson L220 ready here, you could click here and it will automatically print from the number 1 student to the 15th student. So after you're finished with the 1 to 15, you could go with 16 to 30. So that would be the next 15. So you'll just print this out. Uh, it'll be easy. Uh, uh, Maybe I could show it to you, but 15 cards would only take about 30 seconds. So if you have a section, you'd be finished with about 5 minutes. So that's in contrast to if a advisor or a teacher would be writing it, then it would take her about an hour or two just to finish it. So that's it. That's how we do the mail merge. So let's save that. Okay, so let's see how fast printing is on this method. So I feed in 15.
Kahit na ba itong sex, si Dalaw? Sino to? Yan yung kay Rose ko. Yung moral model ng credit ko sa
Okay, so this is the finished product. So as you can see, there are cards that are not well aligned. This is because some of the cards are not equal in height, and I had to compensate. So there are some that are not that well aligned, but as you can see, almost all. But if you are going to use a blank card, you would certainly have good alignment. So how you see it on your computer is how it will appear on your printed out version. So thank you.